We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, cats, dogs, ducks, all of that in
Meow.
between.
Fresh.
This is Knights of the Turntable. This is episode 6. And I'm your host, Charles Singletary, aka Profex. And with me, I have our esteemed guest, Joe Hova,
Yo, what's up?
Gary Swaby,
Hey, what's up?
and Matt. Which I gotta get you something a little more flashy. It's just
I mean, yeah. I mean, the handle I've used for years and years is Terran, Terrin. But Matthew Dean, whatever works, man. And
Matt.
yep, what up?
We'll call you Matt Dean for now. How about
Works
that?
for me, dude.
All right, cool. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for listening in. Let's start off with what everyone has been listening to. Matt, you can go first.
Sure, man. Lately, this week it's probably been it's been a lot of atmosphere. Like I've been listening to old atmosphere, like Life Gives You Lemons, and then something we'll discuss a little later in the show. But I've been watching a lot of these Fire in the Streets from BBC radio presenter Charlie Sloth. I've been watching and listening to a lot of those.
Word up, word up. I look forward to talking about that actually. We're going to mention one specific Fire in the Streets thing from Charlie Sloth a little bit later. But Joe Hova, how about you?
So last night I wanted to give that Janae Aiko a spin, and I listened to like the first few tracks of it, and I listened to like the most of it, like the rest of it last night, and it just didn't hit me the way I was hoping it would hit me. Like I was like cool on it, so like I started listening to this girl called Banks, and I listened to a couple of songs from her, and I'll probably check out the rest of her project. And actually, we're going to talk about this on Cop or Flop later. Mick Jenkins, The Waters, was incredible, and I listened to all of it last night.
Word. I agree with you on of course, the Mick Jenkins thing, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Janae Aiko, I listened to it too, and the issue I had was that nothing stood out to me.
Yeah, like it all just sounded like the same song.
Yeah, and it just went through, the album was over, and I didn't miss it at all. And I actually listened to the Banks track too. But
The Goddess one?
No, it was a different one. Like Fuck 'em something, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But how about you, Gary? What have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of G Unit, of course, but
Fucking
but I also listened to this week's couple flop albums, which is Searching Sylvan and The Waters. So I listened to those both a little bit, and I also listened to a bit of Cassidy too, just because I was watching like his battle with Freeway and everything, and with all that's going on with the disaster battle and stuff, I just felt like listening to some of his music just to see where his lyric game is at the moment. So
Okay. Word. Well, speaking of battling, Summer Madness 4 pretty much has almost all of its card revealed, except it's 2 days, correct? And the first day hasn't been revealed, but the second day, the main events have been announced. Matt and Joe may not have so much insight into this, so we'll touch on it briefly, me and Gary. But to update
I gotta
everyone,
get into the battle scene, man. It sounds
Dude,
like you guys have a lot of fun with it. So
you do. Just like any medium of entertainment, there's some really bad shit out there, but there's some really good stuff as well. Here's the lineup as it is so far. We've got Hitman Holla versus Sue Surf, Charlie Clips versus T-Rex, B Magic versus Conceited, A-Verb versus John the Don, and DNA versus Tay-Rock. There was an Arsenal versus Ill Will battle, but that one Arsenal backed out of. He said that Ill Will didn't deserve to go up against him, which honestly I'm inclined to agree. Arsenal draws a lot of views, no matter who he battles. So if that was the real reason, then I agree, but I'm sure there's more behind that. But Gary, out of those that have been announced, which one is most exciting for you?
oh, Damn, that's hard to choose, but I'm gonna go with the B Magic and Conceited just because it's been a long anticipated matchup, and it's like the battle of the Punchline Kings, and
Yeah,
I think that has the potential to be the battle of the night. But I'm also looking forward to Clips and Rex and Hitman and Surf.
gotcha. Clips and Rex is mine by far because like I think me and you touched on it briefly before, just talking one on one. But Clips has been on a tear, like just as much as T Rex. T Rex more publicly because of the Slaughterhouse show or whatever.
Yeah,
But Clips barely. If he loses, it's always debatable.
yeah, exactly.
Like legitimately, and I'm excited for that. Plus, I am excited for B Magic and Conceited. A few weeks ago, I wouldn't have been, but lately, I watched a couple of Conceited's more recent battles, and he's in pretty prime form. So I think that'll be good. I still think B Magic will destroy him, but
Yeah,
it's still going to be it's going to be an entertaining battle for sure.
yeah. As long as B Magic doesn't choke, because he choked in a couple of his last battles, but as long as he doesn't choke, I think he'll take Conceited. But Conceited, he's no slouch. He can do his thing, and he knows that this is a big battle, and he has to win if he wants to remain as a veteran in this game. So
Yeah, because he hasn't really done too much on the larger stage as of late.
yeah, he's been doing the whole wilding out thing with Nick Cannon. So
Word. But question, you know what? You mentioned the G Unit stuff. Isn't that song "Grinding My Whole Life"? That's by them, right?
that was actually done by someone else originally, but they took the beat.
That was Hit Boy and his crew.
Yeah.
They did that. Okay, I've never heard the original. I thought G Unit strike that up. Only reason I mentioned it because I just saw Childish Gambino spit over that on with Rosenberg, and of course it wasn't a freestyle, but it was pretty awesome. And that'll lead us into the next topic of Childish Gambino has announced that he is doing a Gangsta Grills mixtape. And if you're not familiar, that's DJ Drama's like staple mixtape series. Where there was a time where you weren't a legit artist unless you had one of those out.
Dramas.
But first off, I'd like to hear everyone's feelings on Gambino because it's a love-hate thing with him pretty much. Either you love him or you hate him. There's no in between. I'll start off with Gary.
I can't say I've listened to much of his stuff. If I did, then it was like by recommendation of someone else. I clicked on a YouTube link or something. But even then, I can't really remember anything that I've listened to. So yeah, I can't really comment on him that much.
Word. How about you, Matt? Sound like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I can say a couple things. That's kind of how I feel about Gambino too, and I have listened to Gambino. Like, his projects they're not really that memorable to me. But as a feature rapper, like he was on that Chance the Rapper song, favorite song, then it's the name of the track. And I thought he killed that verse. Like as a feature rapper, I really like him, and I'm looking forward to this mixtape simply because it is DJ Drama, and DJ Drama, is a solid producer all day long. But I don't love Childish Gambino, and I don't hate Childish Gambino. He's just kind of there, man.
He's kind of there.
He's just kind of. There's so many great MCs that he just kind of floats in the middle.
Word. I hear you. How about you, Joe?
This would have been different if Gambino hadn't have commented on Ferguson a couple of weeks back.
What did he say? I didn't hear that.
He basically said that internet activism isn't activism.
Ooh, not a fan.
And so after that, like I haven't listened to anything like he's put out recently. So it's a little different for me because of those remarks. But because of the internet, I loved it. Like I loved the concept of because of the internet, and I think it's because I read the script as I was like listening to the album.
Gotcha. See, I didn't
And
do that. I mean, I intend to do that still because I still have like the script bookmarked. But
mhm.
I heard that that was a pretty solid experience, or a
that
pretty unique experience.
Yeah, that's what intrigued me. I've liked Gambino before. Like I didn't care for like royalty. I liked the EP. I liked some stuff he did before, like the real big EP that got his name out there. But he's kind of just like, yeah, I'll listen to him, but it's not like anything like I'm rushing to listen to. So like for him to have a Gangster Grills though, like everybody has a Gangster Grills now. Like my grandma has a Gangster Grills. Like that's
Oh
just
yeah,
how
I
Gangster
heard that
Grills
one. It
work.
was pretty good, man.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
it's
just
pretty
how they
legit.
work now. Like it's not carrying the same weight.
Yeah, with this instance, like maybe what about 6 years ago, it would be a bigger deal for Gambino to have a Gangsta Grills, but now it's a bigger deal for Drama to have Gambino. Like it's flipped, and it's
Yeah.
because people have forgotten about Gangsta Grills for the most part.
Yeah, like nobody's like, "Oh my God, I got to listen to this Gangster Girls." Like Drama is like he's becoming a more quiet DJ Khaled.
Pretty much. And
He's
you
still
say
well
quiet,
respected in the industry, though.
when you say
Yeah.
quiet, but Khaled's still really loud. Like he needs to quiet down a bit more, but that's just
Another one.
his voice is nails on the chalkboard, man.
Yo, I've legit got to the point where like if Khaled or Drama are on a song anywhere, like I don't want to listen to it.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Like their weight means nothing to me anymore, like it did when I was in college and high school.
Yeah, true. I can understand that. Plus, their style of doing mixtapes is not even the thing anymore. Everyone's
Yeah.
doing just the album quality joints.
You know when Gangsta Grills fell off? When LA the Dark Man got a fucking Gangsta Grills. That's when Gangsta Grills fell off.
Word, I never listened to that, and I never will. But you're probably right. That was, if not the beginning of the end, that definitely helped it along.
I still respect DJ Drama, though. I like his style. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I'm certainly not going to say he's a bad producer.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Yo, you know what? Some of the best Gangsta Girl mixtapes were.
No, not
No,
No, don't.
do not go here.
Gary.
The Cameron and Vado ones, yo.
Okay.
Yeah, those were actually pretty good, and that made me believe in Vado, and I have no clue why.
I haven't listened to those. Like you know, me and Cameron. I haven't listened to a lot of Cameron at all. But
At least you didn't say
Missing out.
G Unit.
yeah, I'm really impressed that he didn't.
was
say
shocked.
I was expecting a G Unit plug there.
No, they
This
haven't
guy-
had a Gangsta Grills, to be real.
Oh, I thought they did.
Okay, I thought they did too. Shows what we know.
Yeah, true that. True that. Of
Why the
course,
hell are we on a
Aaron's the expert.
podcast?
Word. But let's go ahead and move into the next topic. On the playlist, which is our weekly playlist that drops every Monday, we featured a group twice now called Black Boulevard from the UK. And the producer from that crew, or at least I thought he was just the producer in that crew, dropped a Fire in the Streets thing. As a matter of fact, you have a little bit more info on the background of that, Matt, if you want to speak on it.
What Fire in the Streets is?
Yeah, and the Charlie Sloth guy that hosts it, 'cause I don't know
Charlie,
very much about him.
Charlie Sloth he's a BBC Radio 1 DJ and extra. He does two different little excerpts. One's called Fire in the Streets and one's called Fire in the Booth. I think Booth came first, but Fire in the Streets, you can go find him on YouTube. Just YouTube Fire in the Streets. It's a bunch of independent, mostly underground MCs that are just standing in some outdoor location, and they just spit a verse. And some of them are really good, like the one we'll talk about, and some are not worth your time. But if you don't know about the UK hip hop scene, don't sleep on it, because there's some great shit coming out of there.
Word. Wise is the guy's name that dropped this.
WIZE.
Yeah, WIZE. And I want to get everybody's impressions on that. Gary, you can go first. Since that's your home and all.
Yeah. I was impressed. He does remind me of a lot of other UK artists I've heard, like Kalashnikov and For Life Cypher, to name a few. But yeah, that freestyle was dope. Really enjoyed it. And see, the thing is, with the accent thing, I feel like it's a lot harder to put words together with our accent than probably it is like with the US accent. You know, I'm not knocking you guys obviously and saying that you guys have it easy or anything, because you know, writing lyrics is complicated. It's a complex thing regardless. But, you know, with the UK accent, I feel like there's a lot more you have to put into consideration. So when you do get, you know, a really good UK artist like that, you know, usually they're spitting some phenomenal lyrics.
True.
Um,
You know, and we get away with rhyming some really random shit that should be rhyming too. So, and like the slang, a lot of it's a reach, and I think um, with the UK and all, you won't see as much or hear as much of that, or be able
I
to
don't
get
know. They
away
rhyme
with it.
slang too, man. You know, I
But
think there's
is
an
it as
argument to.
bad as the US though? Like it's
Yeah,
really
I
bad.
think so.
Uh,
I
There
would
is
make an
like
argument that cadence is cadence and good cadence is good cadence, no matter what language or accent it's in. You either have a good flow or you got a bad one.
true.
Um, and I don't think the localization as far as because every language has slang, every region has slang. Every good artist develops their own personal style, no matter who it's been influenced by. And to me, like I'd never even considered that because if you're a good artist and you got a good flow, you got a good flow regardless. It doesn't to me. It doesn't matter if you're on this side of the pond or that one.
And the
It's all
opposite, you
hard,
have a really
you
shit
know,
flow too.
for sure. Sure.
Word. And go ahead and give your insight on the whys.
All right, so there are like 10,000 views on that page right now on that video, and I swear half of them are me. Like I have I have watched that thing so many times. It's not even funny. Like that, like everything that guy says, the way he puts things together, like between like I think it's like a minute 5 and a minute 20, he basically compares he makes this really long analogy to the game being like plastic surgery, which just had me freaking floored the way he put it together. Like, um, it's just the whole thing, everything, every single word that guy dropped was just complete and utter fire, and I really want to hear more from him. And I hope it's half as good as that was.
So Matt has told us how he really feels.
I loved it. You showed it to me like a week ago, and I just clicked it nilly willy and thinking, all right, and then I just jaw dropped. Like I had to pick it back up
Multiple times.
a few times. Yeah, approximately about 5,000. Yeah, because literally, no, I would say I've seen that thing probably 50 times at least. I've watched
that's
it at least
legit.
50 times. Yeah.
Word, word. How about you, Joe? You watched it for the first time like, right before the show, correct?
It was cool. I mean, from what I could understand from his accent and his his dialect and everything, it was good. But like going back to the whole region and accent thing, like I've always had a hard time understanding like UK rappers, and it goes back to Dizzy Rascal. Like everybody was
I
all
love Dizzy Rascal, man.
and yeah, and that's the thing. Like everybody was like, "Oh man, Dizzy Rascal's so dope." And like I listened to a few tracks. I listened to him on the UGK track from that album a few years back, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like he's cool, but like I just don't. And maybe it's just that I need to listen to a little bit more. But
Yeah, go spend some time with Boy in the Corner.
But this Wise dude, he was cool. I could see me like if like I listened to it from the perspective of like a blog submission, and like what I was looking for was his flow there, was his his lyrics there, and they were all there. So like I would give more of his music a chance.
Word up, word up. I'll be brief in my impressions. Like I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, it was very, very, very impressive, and it made me just want to hear more UK hip hop, honestly, because a couple people have mentioned before, even Matt mentioned it to me that most people sleep on him, and like I try not to, but I don't know where to start, which I'm kind of learning that now, especially with the Fire in the Street stuff, because I'm going to watch a lot more of that. But yeah, this was a great introduction to Wise as an artist, because I didn't know that he was an artist. I thought he was just a producer. And then Black Boulevard, like the 2 tracks on the playlist are incredible. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. But let's move on to the next topic. This is the Copper Flop segment, where we're going to talk about a couple projects that we were tasked with listening to and our impressions on them, and if you should listen to them as well. We will start off talking about Quest's Searching Sylvan, which we did first impressions on the site, on thecoalition.com. You should definitely check that stuff out. But
look at that segue and that plug.
Yeah.
I like that. Even better.
Shameless plug. Go check out the site.
Or check the site out. I really enjoyed doing that first impression post, and we're going to continue doing that with more projects.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we might. I think we're going to cover Ritz, his project from Stranger Music. I think that might be the next thing that we do. But Quest Searching Sylvan, a project that dropped, I'd say, a week ago, and I'll give my impressions first. I loved it. It's a longer work. I think there were a couple of tracks on it that he should have kept for a album, like a debut album, because I don't think they're considering this a debut album, just like a mixtape. But some of those I think he could have cut for length's sake, and they don't seem to fit. Like Dying Words, which is towards the end, I think that could have been on another project and fit better. It's a really good song. I just don't think it fit with everything else in the narrative that he was telling. That's just me personally. But other than that, Quest, if you follow my stuff on the site, you already know I'm a big fan of Quest, and I've been really, really anticipating this project for a while, and it did not disappoint. It's very good. The music, the production is fantastic, and I'm glad that he got the opportunity to work with the people that VMG connected him with. Like, I think his name's Six. Freaking incredible production. Even Logic from VMG did some production on there on Biscayne Boulevard, and it's really good as well. But yeah, definitely impressed with the project, and I think you should listen to it for sure. Joe, you go next.
Yeah, thanks for putting me up there, since I'm the only one who didn't like it.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not the only one out of this group who didn't like. Well, we didn't get Gary's opinion on it, I don't think. But like from the first impression post, I was the only one who didn't like it. And from Twitter, like the people I follow, like you guys all love it, and I didn't. Like it was boring to me.
That's a strong word.
And it was one of those things where like I had heard this project before. I had heard bits and pieces of this project before from Kendrick Lamar. Like he sounds like Kendrick Lamar when he harmonizes, and the whole concept of the project, like we've heard that storytelling before. Like
So
and I
many
mean his
people made to Kendrick.
yeah, and like it's his lyrics are good, but it's just he sounds so much like Kendrick that it's just like I can't really buy into it.
Gotcha. I actually agree a little bit on some of the influences from Kendrick and just other popular artists. I hear small influences in it. I actually think I hear a little bit of Drake a couple times, which, you know, of course, Kendrick and Drake are the easy comparisons to make, especially where they are in hip hop. But
You know, I hear a lot of Lupe, honestly.
for Quest or just in general?
For Quest, yeah, not necessarily in how his vocal stylings sound, but in construction and in the overall flow of the record, it reminded me a lot of Food and Liquor. And that's not a bad thing either.
No, it's not a bad thing.
I thought the way he approached his socially conscious lyrics was very much reminiscent, to me at least, of records like The Cool and Food and Liquor.
Word. I'm a big Lupe fan, and I never got that impression. I have to listen to it again with that in mind. But go ahead and tell us a little bit more about how you felt about it.
You know, I had to, my first impression, I had to listen through it like twice, because the first listen through, I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like I really wasn't feeling it. And then, you know, I went and did some stuff, went and watched the movie, came back, listened to it again, just from start to finish, and finally started to sink in. The pacing is excellent. Like it is a little bit of a longer project, but he tells such a good narrative. It almost feels like a concept album from start to finish. And I love the mother character. like this running gag of those fucking pork chops, right? Like how he hasn't taken the fucking pork chops out of the oven or whatever. Like I loved it. I liked how there were these in those interludes. There were these kind of jazzy influences, you know, with a lot of brass instrument, and it just was very word I'm looking for, kind of sparse. And then, you know, those interludes were very sparse in production, and then when you got into the production itself for the songs, kind of did a 180 and was completely maximalist. And it was a cool project from start to finish. I thought it didn't feel like a mixtape, which is kind of the trend that a lot of mixtapes are going now. You know, they feel like album projects.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you can argue is a good thing, you can argue is a bad thing, whatever. But I liked it, and, you know, as I said earlier, I hear the Kendrick, I see where people make that comparison. I hear the Drake, I see where people make that comparison. But to me, just the way he constructs his lyrics, the kind of message he's sending, it reminds me so much of Lupe.
All right, word up. Gary, anything to add on?
Yeah, I think as far as content and lyrics, it's a really dope project and everything. But I do find Quest a little hard to listen to for too long. Like, I feel like I probably need to listen to the project a lot more for it to grow on me a bit more and everything. But you know, I don't know, just something about the way he raps, his voice or something, like it makes it hard for me to pay attention. Like, I drift off and start doing other things while I'm listening and stuff. And then, you know, I'm just kind of not paying attention anymore. So I need to really sit down and try and focus on it more, you know, to get everything out of it. But I did like the song Automatic. I think
Yeah,
that
that was my favorite
song.
Automatic.
I like that it was a
beastly track. Yeah, man.
I loved that it was a double. It kind of it reminded me of what Chance did with Fisherman Paranoia. Yeah.
Yeah, that song is absolutely amazing. And yeah, good comparison there. But next we'll talk about a Chicago artist, Mick Jenkins. Speaking of Chance, Mick Jenkins and his project, The Waters. But I don't know who that was. I don't know was that Joe?
Yeah, I think that was Joe.
Okay, all right. Since Joe did that, we'll let him go first because we clearly it's going to be the extreme of one way or another. But that sounded like a good thing. So go ahead, Joe.
Dramatic. So I started listening after the Janae project last night. I wanted to start listening just to something, and I'd seen people talking about this Mick Jenkins project on Twitter, and it was just like I saw nothing but positive things about it. So I was like, all right, let me give it a chance. And that was before, like, because I had skimmed this topic list that, you know, what we talk about, but I didn't remember that it was on there. And then I started listening to it, and I was tweeting about it, and Charles tweeted me. He's like, that was, you know, that's one of the required ones. I was like, oh, well, cool. Because it's dope. Like, and somebody equated his delivering this tone to Tyler, the Creator. I only saw that on, like, one of the tracks, and that was the Martyrs. But the rest of it is
voice.
Yeah, it's his voice. Like,
that's all it is. Like, his delivery and the content is nothing like Tyler. It's just
it's the polar. Like, if you're looking for the polar opposite, that's Mick Jenkins with the same Tyler voice. Like, in his content and the thing that I noticed is that he takes bars and he stretches the wordplay on them for continuous, like, bars. And that's one of the things that I really loved about the project was, like, he would start with something and he would end, like, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars later with the same concept going with different, you know, words in play. Like, that was my favorite thing about it. The production on it's really good, too.
Yeah, the production is definitely top-notch. Matt, how did you feel about The Waters?
You know, I didn't.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Now I feel like I'm going to have to after this show now. It sounds like people generally enjoyed it.
Yeah, my bad. I totally thought I forgot about that, and you just told me. But,
sorry.
Matter of fact, did you listen to any of his tracks that were on the playlist, by chance?
No, I skipped the playlist this week, too. I'm such a terrible person.
We're going to have an after-dark debate with Matt after the
But Gary with sticks or something.
Gary, how did you feel about The Waters, man?
Oh, I loved it. I think it's a really real easy to listen to project, and like Joe said, the production is amazing. Um, and I mean, my only criticism with this is that it's not an album because I legit wanted to buy it after I listened to it.
Oh,
Like
you
it's
could.
that it's that
It's on
good.
iTunes.
Is it on iTunes?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on iTunes.
Probably from a
Really?
third party. If it's a mixtape, probably from a third party, because that's happened with other mixtapes too, where people have posted the mixtape, um, and like Chance the Rapper's Acid Rap got to like the top 50 on the Hot 100 because people were reselling it, even though it was never intentionally meant to be purchased.
Yeah, so the money doesn't really go to the
It
artist in
doesn't
that
actually go to
instance.
the artist. Like, it goes to some random guy who managed to submit it.
I
Oh.
gotta check that because if it really is him with the project up on iTunes, then I'm gonna buy it
I'm
because
gonna
I think it's that good.
I'm gonna bring up the Fake Shore Drive page right now, and I'll let you know if it is or not for sure.
All right, word up. While he's doing that, I
I
have to
mean,
say, like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, worst comes to worst, if you want to support the artist, go buy a damn T-shirt.
Right, he's got to have some retail stuff somewhere. Let me get a The Water shirt. I'm down for that. But I'll say this: The Waters is probably my favorite project of the year so far. I've been listening to it a little bit longer than you guys. I got it the day that it came out, and I think I linked you to it, Matt, right after that.
Did you?
And then, yeah, I think I did. Like, it was on Skype.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Our
It was after
conversation's
the
pretty
show last
extensive.
week.
What'd you say, Gary?
It was after the show last week, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I linked him before that too.
Oh,
That,
okay.
that I think was my second time sending it to him, or at least mentioning it. But it's dope. Like, the subject matter is incredible. The songs, the lyricism, his voice. The Tyler comparison is accurate in his voice, and he's very aggressive with his flow as well.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, it's very aggressive throughout the entire project, except for maybe one track, "Comfortable." That might be the only one where he kind of dialed it back a little bit. And he was also singing the hook on that one, but otherwise, it's very aggressive. And for songs like "Martyrs," which he has a video for, that kind of delivery is required for the stuff that he was talking about. And when we post the podcast, I'll convince Gary to throw the link to Martyrs up there because I think everyone needs to see that video.
That's
because
a powerful video because
it is very
that was the first thing I listened to because I was asking people on Twitter like what I should expect, and somebody hit me with that link for the Martyrs, and I was just like, wow, like this is, and the way like he was rapping about everything, like it was just, it's something you have to see.
Yeah, and like the parodies to things. Like, I had to explain to someone that he was that they were mocking Chief Keef video in that too
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't tell, and like people didn't understand the significance of the nooses hanging around his neck when he was doing that part. It is incredible. That's probably my favorite video of the year too. So we'll have an end of the year list. We'll discuss that later. But clearly, The Waters was impressive to me, and it's a cop. I would say cop for both. Gary, would you say cop for both?
I'd say cop for the waters, and man, I don't wanna say cop or flop for Searching Sylvan yet, because I'm not
You
fully
gotta listen to it some more.
decided
All right, word. Cop or flop on Searching Sylvan, Matt?
I mean, you may as well cop it. It's free.
All right. Jehovah, cop or
It's your
flop
worth your time.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that taking up or not taking up space on my hard drive. I mean,
for both of them, dude.
no, for the Mick Jenkins one, I would definitely cop that. But the Searching Sylvan, no, you can pass on that.
Oh, word.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you find out the info on Fake Shore?
I did, and the Fake Shore post, it has a link to the Hot New Hip Hop where it was premiered. So no, it's not on iTunes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go into the next few topics, which are basically release dates that have been announced, or at least announcements of projects. First up, Big Crit, who's working on Cadillactica, has announced that his sophomore album is dropping in November. Which
That's such a bad name. Cadillactica? Like I
No,
saw
that
that
is
and I just
awesome. That is an
no,
awesome
it's
name.
not.
I love it. I love it, especially for crit. I love it.
You know what we should call it? Battlestar Catalactica.
I'm sure that's what that's kind of what I was thinking the
That is
reference
what I'm.
was.
That is what I'm calling it from now on.
Golly. Okay, that's gonna be terrible. But me personally, I'm really looking forward to that project. Everything Crit has done this year has been incredible. Plus, I think he had the best control response, which it came much later than everyone else.
The Mount Olympus.
Yeah, Mount Olympus is nuts, man. That track is ridiculous, and it was great to hear a very aggressive and abrasive Big Crit in that Mount Olympus track. I love it. Like I bump that in the car, and I just lose it, and yeah, it's ridiculous. But how do you feel about Catalactica, Joe, going forward?
I cannot wait for it. Like, I haven't been excited about too many projects this year. I was excited for Futures. I was excited for Schoolboy Q. Whenever Kendrick drops his, I was excited for that Janae, and that was actually one of the first ones to disappoint me. But this one, I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be awesome.
You weren't excited for Absol?
No.
Because that disappointed me.
Because Absol, like, I like Absol and I'll listen to Absol, but, like, I just knew that was the way they were promoting it, I knew that it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah, when I found out that it didn't have a physical copy, my heart dropped. I was like, oh, man, it's probably not even worth it.
And you know what? That's the thing, like, Section 80 didn't have a physical copy, and they promoted that the exact same way that they did Absols these days, and look at the response for Section 80.
Section 80 is great, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. Matt, do you listen to a lot of Big Crit?
No, I mean, I've heard some one-offs here and there. I think the name's absolutely garbage. Like, that by itself just kind of makes me want to stay away from this project. But, I'll give it a fair listen when it comes out.
How about you, Gary?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a listen when it comes out because I haven't really listened to enough Big Crit for my liking. I recognize that he's a good artist, but I haven't really listened to enough of his stuff, so I'll listen to this when it drops.
Just go back and listen to his first one.
What's it called?
Crit Was Here.
Crit Was Here?
Go back and listen to that, and I promise you will change your mind.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
I actually like Return of Forevermore.
Really?
Yeah. But that's probably because that's where I started. Like, that was where it began for me.
Oh, okay. Because Crit Was Here. Because I remember that because that was the summer I graduated college. That dropped, and Dom Kennedy's From the West Side with Love dropped, and those were the only two projects I played all summer.
And I still haven't listened to that Dom Kennedy. I downloaded it and still have not listened to it. I listened to his album, but I didn't listen to that tape.
Wait, wow, you haven't heard From the West Side with Love?
I tried. I couldn't get into it. But the album grew on me, though. Like, once I understood what Dom Kennedy was and, like, the type of artist he was, the songs grew on me. It's very, very chill type music, in my opinion, and I enjoy it. But that's getting off track. How about the next thing that was released? Like, Catalactica has a trailer, which you need to watch, which is really awesome. I've watched, just like Matt putting in 5,000 on Wise, I'm probably responsible for about 10,000 of Crit's trailer, because it's only like
you just had to one-up me, didn't you?
I did, but it's only like a minute. It may be under a minute.
It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it teases you like no other. It's ridiculous. And the track that they tease in there, I really need to hear it because it sounds incredible. But also Wale, who's disappeared, thankfully for the most part, has resurfaced with his album About Nothing trailer. Which, if you don't know Wale,
you don't need to know Wale. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
That's their opinion. If you don't know Wale, he mainly blew up off the strength of his mixtapes About Nothing. He did Mixtape About Nothing and More About Nothing, which it plays on the Seinfeld show. It's music and it's themes, of course. And those two mixtapes are really good mixtapes, in my opinion. I'm a fan of Wale because of those two mixtapes. Now, ever since then, though, it's kind of been up and down for him since he signed with MMG, because I thought it was going to be a great thing, and for them, it's been 50-50. I think Ambition was,
God, that was awful.
yeah, it was not the greatest thing in the world, and his album before that, which wasn't on MMG, was okay, but it wasn't very great either. It's like he's still trying to figure out his identity in the mainstream, but the album About Nothing, it seems like he's going back to that the hungry rapper mindset and just him and the fans of his older music type of thing. Hopefully it goes that way. He actually has Seinfeld involved this time with the making of the project. Yeah, I don't know if it's just going to remain on the skits or not, but Seinfeld is with him in the studio working with him on this project, and I think
is he going to drop a verse? I hope Jerry Seinfeld drops a verse. That's what I do. I will
that would
pay
be
for
hysterical. But one thing, and I want Joe to go first right after this. One of the funny things that they talk about in the trailer is basically how sensitive Wale is to the media. Like like Twitter, I had to unfollow him because he is a little kid on there. Like he gets butt hurt quickly. Like you can have no following whatsoever, be like one follower, and you're following two other people.
And Wale
if you
will
tweet
respond to
Wale,
you.
he's going to respond to you if you say something about him. Or you don't even have to add him. He probably searches his name.
Hashtag Wale.
He searches his name just to see if anybody's slinging dirt, and he just goes in on people all the time. Plus that whole thing with Complex and the phone call where he blew them up.
My favorite quote ever came from that. What do you mean to tell me Juicy J album better than mine?
Yeah,
to which I respond, yes, Juicy J's album was better than yours.
Yeah, at that time it was. What was that? What were they doing? Was it a top 10 list?
They did a top 25 albums of 2013, and Wale wasn't even on it.
And he called them, and they recorded the phone call, and it was bad. It was really bad. So well, Joe, give your perspective on all of that. How you feel about Wale as an artist or a whatever the hell he is on Twitter.
I'm like you. Like, when I listen to an artist, I like to, like, yeah, I know they're not supposed to like connect with you, but like as a fan, you want to, feel like you connect with them, and to like see somebody just act like that on Twitter, like, why should I support that? Like, it's the same thing with like Joe Budden. Like, we all found out Joe Budden beats his girlfriend, and like I haven't listened to a Joe Budden verse since.
Yeah, I actually haven't listened to a Joe Budden track either since that happened. I listened to the Slaughterhouse thing. I didn't even finish it.
You are what you consume, and I just feel like if you listen to, like, I feel like if I listen to Wale, I'm just like I'm endorsing that that his actions like that. So, and it just feeds into his ego. Like, I used to like Wale's music. Like, Nike Boots was fire to me in college. Like, some of his, like, stuff, like, he had a song with Gucci Mane. He let J. Cole wash him on his debut album. Like,
yep.
Like, it's just, like, I used to like some of his stuff, but, like, the whole perception of him on social media, it changes your mind. And it's just, I mean, I'm not looking forward to, mixtape About Nothing, and I probably won't even listen to it. The only reason I listened to Ambition is because I had to review it.
Gotcha. The thing with me, when he released his last album, I thought it was going to be the album About Nothing. Like, I'd been waiting for that for a long time. And when it wasn't, I was very pissed. And then they dropped the trailer for... Like, this is the second trailer for About Nothing. They dropped the first one right after his last album, and I was like, you guys are assholes. Because I totally wanted that. And I didn't buy his last album. I didn't buy any of them. I just want the album About Nothing and the mixtape About Nothing. I'm good. How about you, Matt?
I mean, I feel like the album About Nothing is probably an appropriate title for an artist that means nothing, is nothing. That sums up Wale for me. I think Wale's a joke. He's garbage. I think kind of the stuff he does on Twitter and social media and how he acts like a little egotistical baby just kind of adds to all that. And just kind of another one thing I want to mention, the promotion in regards to this record sort of reminds me of that Waka Flocka record or that Waka Flocka mixtape that just came out, I Can't Rap. But the difference between like Waka Flocka and Wale is at least Waka Flocka doesn't take himself super seriously in that regard. You know, he admits he can't rap. He has fun with it. He's garbage. He's cool with that. Wale, on the other hand, thinks he is a good rapper, and he's not, and I won't buy it.
Well, that's the thing. The problem with Wale, like for me, like to not listen to him anymore, is like his. And I've said this on past podcasts that I've been on. He has this flow that I call the running to catch the bus flow, and when he raps, it sounds like he's like running out of breath, like he's running alongside of you rapping.
Like he's taking a jog.
Yeah, like that's what it sounds like to me. So.
Like he's just got a treadmill in the studio. Do you think he's just got like a treadmill in the studio with like a boom mic? Like, and he's just standing there burning his calories and spitting verses?
You know, he very well could. I've never heard a rapper sound that winded since like Big Pun.
Well, the way Matt's talking, that's how he would have to deliver it to Matt anyway while he's trying to run away from him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, oh, get away from me! I don't want your tape. I don't care if it's free.
How about you, Gary? Do you listen to Wale at all?
Well, he rolls with a CO, so I can't even really listen to him.
Wait, he what?
He rolls with a correctional officer, so I can't really listen to him.
Oh, look at Gary hashing the beef from like 7 years ago.
You know what? With any topic, Gary's gonna find a way for it to weave back to 50 Cent and
Oh my God! You know what we should do? One episode, the 6 degrees of G Unit, and have Gary link everything back to G Unit.
You know what? I'm writing that down. It's gonna.
I like it.
It's gonna happen.
A G Unit themed episode. I'm sure we can find a reason to do it at some point. They ever become relevant again?
They're working on it. Maybe we can help them. In this podcast, we helped G Unit become famous again, and we're probably gonna get flamed by Wale. Thanks to Matt.
I feel like it's a good way to get some Twitter followers. I might go start some shit with Wale real quick.
Yeah, when I share this podcast, I'm gonna @ him on Twitter.
I was already planning to do it. We all can do it. I know Joe will.
I'm hoping to get a personal. No, I want to start a flame war with Wale. That sounds like fun.
We got to do a top 10 list, and at the beginning of the list, be like, first off, let's say what's not on here.
Yeah.
Album About Nothing is not on this list.
I haven't even heard it yet, but we know it's bad.
Yeah, oh God, we'll probably get a cease and desist or something.
Why? Slander? I mean, I'm pretty sure as journalists we can say whatever the fuck we want.
I'm not saying it'll be official. It'll probably be handwritten by him, and he'll just make copies.
He'll run to us. You think he'll run and spit verse at the same time while I was trying to hand it?
Dramatic.
Oh, word. Well, that wraps up all the topics for this week in very humorous fashion. I think that was a good one to finish off with. But anyone want to drop off some last words? Joe, do you have any?
Free Unit. Yeah, free Gucci Man. Yeah, that's what I meant.
No.
We're free Gucci Man, right?
No.
You got free Bobby Shmurda.
No, today is different because the musical trio that is Migos just dropped their music video, and it's a musical, and it's called Bando, and you gotta watch it.
Oh my goodness, I have done very well. I've done very well avoiding all of their music so far.
Yo, for you give it a chance. Like to me, it's entertaining.
If you show me a link, I'll let you know.
We'll make this a topic next week. How about that?
All right.
We'll talk about Bando next week. Matt Dean.
I don't know. It sounds like I've got a lot of. I'm gonna check out that Water State because it sounds like a lot of people have really been enjoying it, and I'm gonna need a lot of stuff to listen to because Arcade comes out this weekend, so I'm gonna need background music for hours upon hours.
So you're jumping into that, huh?
Yeah, dude. I'm in the alpha. just
Oh,
because
snap.
that's what I even shameless plug. I write a weekly column over at MMO Games called the Hasla Herald, which is all about arcade. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited. Comes out Friday for alpha members, and then it comes out Tuesday for the general public.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you did a weekly column on Arcade. I've been
Yeah, we
following it.
just started the column. This is actually the first week of the column, but we're going to be doing it weekly from here on out. And I've been writing for them for a good while now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been following the game a good bit.
Yeah, dude.
It's very intriguing, but I won't play it because I know that my life would be over.
It's not as much of a time sink as you think it's going to be, man. And the grind to 50, the grind to endgame, isn't really that long, and most of the emphasis is on interaction and PvP with other players. So once you get to endgame, which doesn't take that many hours, it's mostly, it really is a game that you can pick up for 30 minutes, an hour, or 10 hours, as much or as little time as you want to put into it.
Yeah, see, I'm obsessive about MMOs,
Right,
so
I feel you.
that's why I don't play EVE Online.
I plan on being up for 48. I've got a group that's our plan is we're going to be up for 48 hours, and we are literally just going to grind to endgame.
Yeah, because like with a game that has such a player focused like economy or whatever, this is what kind of the focus of Arcade. I think that's amazing.
Yep.
And yeah, I considered being a founder, but I stayed away. But yeah, enough of the game talk. If y'all want to talk games with us, join us at the Co-op podcast on Coalition.
Oh, plug.
Nice seg.
Word.
That was smooth.
Gary, your final word.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Richard Valera. He invited me onto his battle rap podcast. It's called Talk That Shit. It was the first episode actually, and he wants me to be a regular on the show. So I want to give him a shout out, and hopefully we can get him on this show too as a guest or something. That would be cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Word up. Thank you all for listening to episode 6 of Knights of the Turntable. It has been a pleasure, and we will see you next time.
See you next week.